Hey folks, Rick here. You ever see a massive construction project and wonder why it always seems to be behind schedule and way over budget? Well, today we're going to dive into some seriously cool technology that's tackling that exact problem. It's all about creating a perfect digital copy of our physical world. And believe me, it's changing how we build, renovate, and manage, well, pretty much everything around us. Okay, so let's start with that frustration, right? Whether you're actually in the industry or you're just stuck in traffic looking at the same construction site for months, it is not just in your head. And the reason why? It's actually surprisingly simple. For decades, and I mean decades, these massive multi-million-dollar projects have been built on a foundation of, well, guesswork. Think about it. Incomplete plans, outdated blueprints, or just plain wrong information. It's forced architects and engineers to make these educated guesses, and those guesses lead to really expensive surprises and rework down the line. But what if you could just get rid of the guesswork completely? And that's where this revolutionary set of tools comes into play. It's called reality capture, and it is a complete game changer for the entire architecture, engineering, and construction world. This is how we're going to eliminate that guesswork for good. This is a layman's version of reality capture. The technology is rapidly advancing and it can be complicated, but I like to keep things simple so everyone can understand, not just the tech gurus. So what is it exactly? Well, to put it simply, reality capture is all about digitizing a job site or simply the environment around us. It uses incredible tools. We're talking laser scanners, LiDAR, SLAM technology, drones, fancy cameras, to collect a massive amount of visual and point data. And with that data, it creates a super precise, totally measurable 3D digital model of a real-world place, whether that's just a single room or a whole industrial plant. Now, this is where it gets really cool. You know, a photograph, it's just a flat picture of a moment in time. You can look at it, sure, but that's about it. A reality capture model, though, that's what we call actionable intelligence. You can digitally walk through it. You can slice it in half. And this is the most important part. You can measure and analyze every single little detail with unbelievable precision. It goes from viewing an image to experiencing and navigating a digital environment. The whole point of all this is to create a single source of, quote, verifiable truth. See, by having this perfect digital snapshot of exactly how things are before anyone even starts designing or building, teams can spot potential problems and conflicts. It basically stops mistakes before they even have a chance to happen. This goes back to the old 1976 Paulson's curve, where the earlier we identify problems, the cheaper and more efficient we can resolve them. Reality capture addresses the Paulson's curve. But look, reality capture isn't just one single technology. It's really more like a high-tech toolbox. And the secret sauce is knowing which tool you need to pull out for which job. This chart kind of breaks it down perfectly. So for something incredibly detailed and complex, like the inside of a hospital or a refinery, you're going to use what's called terrestrial laser scanning. It's a bit slower, yeah, but you get sub-millimeter accuracy. It's insane. Now, if you need to map a giant outdoor area or a bunch of rooftops, you'd use a drone with photogrammetry. It's way faster. And then for things like tracking progress on a huge site or doing quick walkthroughs, there's mobile scanning or SLAM, which is super fast. It's always this trade-off, this balance between precision and speed. There are more new advanced technologies available today, so this is just to get a starting point for understanding. Okay, so you've done the scan, you've captured all this data. Now what? Well, the real magic happens next, when all that raw data gets turned into something that architects and engineers can actually use to make smart decisions. The value goes downstream to the construction team and to the facilities team who operate the building. The value proposition continues way past the original capture. The first thing you get from a scan is something called a point cloud. The best way to think of it is like a super high-density digital skeleton of a space. It's not a solid model, not yet. It's literally millions upon millions of individual measurement points that when you see them all together, create a perfect 3D shape of the environment. Another way of looking at it is that each point has an X, Y, Z location and a color. When you bring all those points together, bam, you have a 3D environment. And just to give you a sense of the sheer amount of data we're talking about, get this. A modern scanner can capture millions of these precise measurement points every single second. Whew, that is an incredible amount of detail. It captures every pipe, every beam, every little imperfection on a surface. And as expert Matthew Bird says here, this raw data isn't just for looking at pretty pictures. The absolutely crucial next step is that you can bring that point cloud directly into the design software that teams are already using. You know, stuff like Revit or CAD. And this is where that digital world starts talking to the design process. From there, that point cloud data gets refined into the final products that clients actually need, things they're familiar with. This could be incredibly accurate 2D drawings or an intelligent 3D BIM. It could even be special reports that automatically check for conflicts, like a pipe hitting a duct, or analyze how flat a concrete floor is. Let's make this super real for a second. Imagine a complex renovation in a hospital. In the old days, designers just had to guess what kind of mess of pipes and wires was hiding above the ceiling. With reality capture, a quick scan reveals the exact location of every single pipe, duct, and wire before anyone even touches a single ceiling tile. You can see how the value and the return on investment are just immediate. The technology connects the designers, engineers, and builders to existing knowledge of the building. In the past, we sent people out to the site to measure by hand and take photos, then run back to the office to digitize. We're talking about days of work from many stakeholders to one person, a few hours of scanning and processing, and bam, everyone has the information they need to make the right decisions. It's all about using technology as the accelerator so people can perform higher value activities. So what does all this mean for the future? Well, creating these static digital snapshots, honestly, that's just the beginning. It's the first step in a much, much bigger digital transformation. This leads us right to the concept of a digital twin. Now, you hear these terms thrown around a lot, sometimes together, but there's a really key difference. Reality capture gives you that static snapshot. That's the high-res skeleton we talked about. A true digital twin, that takes the skeleton and gives it a pulse. It connects it to live, real-time data from sensors, creating a living, breathing digital copy of a physical thing. So where are we with all this right now? Well, as Matthew Bird puts it, it's still kind of the Wild West. And that's actually really exciting. The tech is moving so fast, the rules are still being written, and the opportunities for people willing to jump in right now are just massive. And you know, in any Wild West situation, there's a gold rush for talent. Because all these tools are so new, there's this huge skills gap. The industry is desperately looking for a whole new generation of technicians, modelers, and managers who can lead this digital charge. Seriously, the people who get into this field today are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. So that leaves us with one last thing to think about. As this technology becomes totally normal, and every bridge, every building, every factory gets its own perfect digital copy, are we just building a better, more efficient map of the world we already have? Or are we actually laying the foundation for a whole new, digitally integrated reality? Something to chew on. I hope this breakdown of reality capture gave you a clearer perspective on what can often feel like a pretty overwhelming process. The goal isn't just to understand the tech, but to understand how to make it work for you. As I transition into this new chapter of my career, my focus has shifted toward legacy. I'm dedicated to transferring 35 years of experience leading successful digital transformation to the next generation of AEC, BIM VDC, and technology professionals. Our industry doesn't just need more tools, it desperately needs leaders who know how to wield them. I'm here to help you succeed. If you're ready to move beyond the information pile and finally get unstuck from the tech silo, I'd love to have you join our community. I write a free weekly newsletter called Unstuck, the AEC Innovation Playbook. You can learn more and subscribe at opex5.com. Let's stop just managing technology and start leading the change. Thanks for tuning in.